Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for all of those who are joining in, or if you're watching the replay, please say hello. We would love to know that you are watching. My name is Nicolette Halladay. I am the CEO and founder of Inspired Hearts Publishing. And today I am so excited to be joined by April Azzolino.
Azzolino.
Thank you, April Azzolino, who is the co-author of the newly released book, The Voyage and The Return. And she's joining us today to talk about the book, what she wrote in her chapter, as well as share a little bit about the work that she's doing. Welcome, April.
Thank you, Nicolette. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Exciting
you.
times.
Thank you for joining me and for being so gracious about the name. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Names are important to me, so I always try to get that right. So April, you are a spiritual mentor and past life soul regression specialist, living in Las Vegas, Nevada. Share a little bit more about the work that you are doing.
Thanks so much. So the spiritual mentor part is about 2009, something like that. I became a part of a spiritual development college. It's a college of experience. It's with no dogma, no theology, and it helps people understand about their own, you could say, angels or spirit guides or whatever that word is for people. Working with, not with them, you could say, those spiritual masters or that team that you have, and your psychic senses, your spiritual gifts, and your energy, your energy in a body, that soul part of you. And I really became intrigued. There wasn't really, 2009, there was not much in Las Vegas. And, I started doing some spiritual retreats, and that small, still voice within was like, become an educator or, mentor. And, at the time I was like, oh, not me. Who am I?
Who was talking to me?
Who am I?
House, right?
Like a lot of things, it was an inner knowing, an inner calling, the small whisper inside myself that wouldn't let go. I tried. I wanted it to let go away.
Yeah.
And so I went off on a different adventure than the normal one that I had been leading. Like a lot of people, we just have these normal life. This was like really going off the beaten path. And it became fascinating. It became fascinating. And I know people now from all over the world that, if I hadn't taken this journey through Way Shores College, I wouldn't be meeting you right now, and probably a lot of other things.
Yes. So amazing and incredible how when we start following those nudges and inner knowing, like you said, really the journey that we find ourselves on and the path that we find ourselves taking can go in some of the most incredible ways, making some of the most meaningful connections. So in the book, you really share about your journey, right? Kind of your own progression and how you came from, really just your initial childhood to working in the beauty industry and progressing into the spiritual development world. So tell us a little bit, for anyone who hasn't read the chapter, give us a little synopsis on how that worked out for you.
It's interesting, I didn't really know what I was going to write about. And then one day it just like came through like a channel, and I sat down and I wrote it, and it was like, that's it. And I really wanted people to kind of get a feeling for their extra sensories, those sensitivities that we have. And and how mine worked for me from my childhood, into my adulthood.
Yeah.
And trusting it, just really trusting that inner part. Like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it anyway. And then I'm going forward, and I'm saying no to this and yes to this and no to this and yes to the thing that I'm not even sure why I'm doing, but I know I need to do it.
Mm. So let's dig into that a little bit. Go back to those earlier days where you're getting this nudge and you're like, okay, I'm doing it. I mean, I'm sure it was a little intimidating at the time, right?
Yeah, like anyone, I'm a hairdresser by trade in society, right? It's a normal profession. And I did it over 30 years professionally. But this I started doing some work on myself through Way Shores College. And then the progression, was, well, I can teach it, but could I? Could
Mm.
I? In the small doubt, the small fears, the things that creep in, which
Mhm.
I know all of us have had in whatever's, and leaving the profession that I always knew to
Absolutely.
go venture into the thing that, ooh, it's like the tightrope. How well will I do? And and then just doing it, listening to myself, the nudge, the inner knower, say, I'm going to go do it. If I'm interested, there's probably 1,000 people out there that are interested,
Oh, sure. Lots more than
right?
in this 7 billion, 8 billion, whatever, uh,
So,
population world. Yes, definitely. So
a
what
leap of faith.
Yeah, so one thing that you don't really talk about, but that I'm just curious about is the people in your surrounding and how they, like in your immediate circle, your friends and your family, how did they respond to this change and you following um, this your intuition into the spiritual world?
Well, yeah, that's the journey, right? All of a sudden, you're just the hairdresser, and now you're, you're talking about the mystical part of people.
Yeah.
So I can remember the day I put something on Facebook,
Mm.
and one of my sisters says, "Oh my God, I can't believe you came out of the spiritual closet and you wrote something." And I said, I decided it was time. I just decided, like, I'm going to write about the psychic gift of prophecy and the psychic gift of vision
Mhm.
and healing. And I just started off.
Yeah.
And it was unknown territory. And still today, some of my family members are like, what? You really, you're kind of witchy. I get that. And I'm like, well, you can use that term. It's a compliment. I'll let it be a compliment.
Yeah.
But I get a lot of people who private message me, and they're attorneys and doctors and business people, because I sometimes step out, people that really don't know me, and they're like, I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
What is that? Whatever the question is. And
Yeah.
so,
That's
um,
amazing, and I think when we are willing to go first, when we're willing to share our true and authentic self with the world, it really does give other people permission to really kind of start investigating their curiosities and, asking the questions and reaching out. So well done on, leading the way. And it's not easy necessarily to, show up fully and be like, hey, I'm doing this thing. A lot of people might not understand it, but the people who do, it's so rewarding. So I know one of your signature programs is past life regression. Talk us through that. What does that look like? Why would someone come to you? What would be the benefit? And kind of walk us through what that looks like.
so I do past life regressions a couple of different ways. For some people, it can be kind of that general way. It takes about 90 minutes, and maybe it's a foot off. You just need to get a sensory and a feeling for something. But for those who want to really go into the deeper dive, I do a past life soul regression. And
Mm.
that's where I wrap around a problem you have. And you've had this problem for a very long time. And that most likely it came from, if you believe in reincarnation, past lives, it came back from one of those lives, or maybe many of them. How many past lives have you still traveled with the situation? So the
Mm.
situation can be anything, right? Like one of my clients was, she always had a feeling that she was rejected in the womb by her mother.
Mm.
Not an uncommon thing, to be truthful. I
Yep.
mean, you're a mom. How many
Yep.
moms out there, like one day, like, why did I get myself pregnant?
Huh. Yeah.
So the infant in the womb can maybe pick that up. But
Yeah.
also what she healed. And so we do a therapy, a healing around that.
Mm. Mm.
And that's the big difference between a generic past life regression and a past life soul regression. We really do soul therapy around the challenge or the situation that
Mm.
that you can't quite get a understanding for and a healing for. And they're longer. They take a good 3 hours. This is not, I do them over Zoom.
Mhm.
Everything is Zoomable anymore.
Yeah.
And, you walk away with, oh my gosh, the healing, the enlightenment, for her, it was, my mother really didn't reject me. She was just having a not so good day.
Right. And so what are what's some of the feedback that you've received from people who have gone through this process with you?
An awakening, an awareness, a
Mhm.
healing, a um, how will I stop doing the thing that I've been doing? Because
Absolutely.
we get a healing around that. So it
Yeah.
could be, let me see. Another person was, they always felt, what's the word I'm looking for? Isolated and alone.
Mhm.
And so she'd created that in many lifetimes too.
Yeah.
And so now in this lifetime, she has choice, right?
Mhm.
And what am I going to do for the solution of that? So it's walking away with the solution for that.
Mm. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like you said, I think just the awareness, people who haven't done any kind of personal or spiritual work, might not really understand, the self-awareness that really comes, and to me, it's the deepest level of personal accountability in a way, because really you're changing things from the inside out, right? And working so deeply on yourself instead of looking outside of yourself for the reasons why things, aren't progressing, or why you're hurting, or whatever it might be. So, sounds incredible. So I mentioned you talked about really your own journey, and in how you found yourself from just living in regular life, being in the beauty industry, to working your way to becoming a spiritual mentor. um, how has how do you think the people who are reading your chapter, how does that relate to the work that you're doing?
I think people, how it relates is that they begin to find out that trusting myself starts within myself.
Hmm.
So, and that's the part of why I wrote that, so that I can't really trust society or my friends and family. They
Hmm.
mean well. Everybody means well,
Yeah.
but it begins here,
Hmm.
right? I have a sensitivity that I can navigate in what I need to do for myself. So at the end of the day, it starts right down in here with, am I going to trust myself with what I need to do for myself versus I go to everyone to give me an answer.
That's a big one.
That's one, right? So how do I begin getting an answer for myself instead of going to the outside world to get an answer for myself? Because as good as everyone is, and perhaps, wants to give you an answer, it begins inside.
Yeah. And I think, and then the next step is trusting the answer and following it. Right. And it's a progression. It can be a progression to learn to trust yourself and to follow your instincts. And it's like a muscle. I think the more, you trust in connecting to your own intuitive knowing, and the more you follow it, the stronger it gets. And the more decisive you can be in.
That's right. So you through, well, I like to say my angel communication sessions and, past life soul regressions, instead of being sideswiped by what's going on, you can just navigate fully forward.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's a big, big, big deal. Like I don't get sideswiped.
Yeah, I can see what's coming. And then I think a secondary piece to this that is so important to mention is that we are all so supported, and knowing that.
Yeah. There's tools and techniques, and you can, start beginning, the inner healings and depths of, for yourself, trusting pathways.
Yes, absolutely. So I am going to add the links for people who are interested in connecting with you, in working with you. What is the best person? Like, where are they at on their journey? Why might they come to you? Who is the person you like to work with the most?
The person that I like to work with most is someone who really wants to be invested with their soulness. Right? So I really want to be invested in my growth and my opportunities. And I'm not necessarily surface fishing. I want to go down deep. So both are okay, but probably for me, you want to go down deep.
Yeah.
That's the person I want to work with.
Yeah. So let's see. So what is the difference about the work that you're doing compared to someone else who's maybe in a similar field? If someone's like, I'm interested in this, what differentiates you?
I will help you help yourself to get your own answers for yourself versus you going to someone that will channel an answer for yourself.
I love that. I heard a quote. It was just the other day, and it's like, a good mentor tells you the answers, and a great mentor teaches you how to find the answers.
That's right. I will teach you how to fish.
Yeah.
And so you can go do the deep dive in the ocean and not just float on the shallow water.
Absolutely. Yes, that's incredible. So what made you decide to write a chapter in a multi-author book?
I felt like, and I still do to some degree, that there's always been a book inside me. And so for me, this was like, I get to put my own toe in the water.
Yeah.
Kind of the publishing field, really don't know anything. I do a lot of spiritual blogs on my website. There's probably 15 of them at this point.
Yeah.
But I had never really gotten into, publishing like you. And I trusted you. And I saw the cover. And first the cover was like, oh, it's purple and yellow and flowers and sunshine. like it was just like calling me, right? Like that, like to me is me. All
Absolutely.
of that and the
Yeah.
mountains. And it just gave me this opportunity to say, okay, well, I've been writing my spiritual blogs. What if I took it a little bit deeper and had this opportunity? And when I was a little girl, I used to actually write stories and my mom would edit them.
Mm.
There would be not so great stories, but I was trying as an 8-year-old and 9-year-old. And I
Yeah.
remember that now.
Mm.
I was like, oh, so that was part of that. Like, okay, I think this is time now. Let me, it was the perfect kind of storm or opportunity, right? You came in, you asked, I had some time, and I was like, I think today's the day.
This is it. This is the step. Yes, I love
Mhm.
that, and it's really true. A few things. It's funny how many people, yeah, how many of the contributors are like, "Well, it's the cover." Like, it's just I saw myself in that book, so I think this is so valuable to see yourself, right, in the book. If you're doing some kind of collaboration like this, to really just be like, yes, feeling so called to it, and just that deep inspiration, or aspiration, I should say, for writing, for getting published, for accomplishing something that has been a goal, or something on your, something you wanted to accomplish for so long, and getting to do it in a collaborative setting where people are joining together, where you get to share in the writing and the marketing and the promoting, and then you become a best-selling author. Congratulations on
Oh,
that.
it's so
And
exciting.
yes, yes. So the paperback is releasing July 11th. So mark your calendars. And we have some fun things in the works coming up for that. A book club and some other things that we have in the works. So we're going to be excited to share all those things with you. April, before we head off, is there anything else that you want to share before saying goodbye?
Make your life great. Just
Mhm.
go out, be kind. Just be kind and make it great.
Make it a great life.
That's right. Make it a great life.
Hmm.
Thank you, Nicolette. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And you're such a beautiful mentor. I mean, I really, want your audience to know. And uplifting and inspiring and keeping me in tune with all the meetings and life. And it's been a joy and a great experience.
The feeling is mutual, and I've enjoyed so much having you a part of this collaboration. And so I will make sure to link all of April's connections in the comments so that people can find a way to connect with her and work with her. Definitely read her chapter, and leave her a review. I know that would make her day. So yeah, so thanks everyone, and have a wonderful day. And until next time.
Thank you.